You can be so frustrated with the hiring process that you start to become tempted to lie on your resume. Is this a good idea? You might have heard of someone who got away with it. That's how they got their dream job. They had to lie. There's people even mentioning this in the comment section with some of my videos. The bottom line is, if you lie on your resume to get a good job, you could get it, but then again, you're probably going to lose it. So what exactly are we talking about when it comes to lying on your resume? The first area that you can lie on is your skills. And this isn't as simple as saying I'm a good communicator, but in reality, you're an introvert. What I'm talking about here is, let's say you're applying for an IT position and you start to lie about your programming skills. You say, yeah, I'm proficient when it comes to C# and Python and JavaScript. I know all of that. And then you actually start working your first day, your first week and month, and it turns out you don't know any programming skills, right? That would be grounds for termination. You're no longer qualified for that position. Same thing with a clearance. If you're not eligible to hold a clearance, but you lied through your application, and then they find out a couple of months later, you have a drug charge, you have an assault charge. What's going on with this international relationship? Things like that. Or it could be leadership skills. You make up the fact that you led 20 or 30 people, when in reality, you and I both know you didn't lead those people, right? You're making that stuff up. Those things can come back to hurt you. Next is lying about where you used to work. I've spoke with some people who are very timid or very reluctant to put any information about their past. They ask me, can I exclude this? Do I have to put the phone number here? Do I have to put my supervisor's name there? Hey, all of that stuff, that sends up red flags. You cannot make up companies, or you should not make up companies that you worked at and say that they're small startups, but they never existed. That looks very suspicious. Maybe you're afraid that your past supervisor is going to speak negatively about you. And if that's the case, put another leader from your organization. I would say even putting a coworker is better than completely lying or omitting the information. Or maybe you didn't even work at the job. If you didn't even work at the job, seriously, what are we doing here? Do you not think that eventually someone's going to uncover that? Even with a big work gap, say you haven't worked in the last 3 or 4 years, you do not want to make up a position. You don't want to fabricate a company out of thin air and pretend you were working there. If you're worried about the work gap, which I don't think you should be, then consider volunteer experience. You can put volunteer experience on your federal resume. It's not an issue. It can help you out. There have been actual times that I have witnessed where a person that was being interviewed, they were disqualified. They were not selected because what was coming out of their mouth, it did not match their resume. There were too many inconsistencies, and it brought up the question of their integrity. Now, of course, this is the responsibility of the agency that's hiring you. They need to do their due diligence, and that's why they're calling your references. That's why during the background check, they're going to make sure you were truthful about where you used to work. Speaking of background checks, when we're talking about the SF-85 and the SF-86, public trust and secret clearance, you do not want to lie in those documents. Those things are over 100 pages. You have to input addresses, who you knew. If you were ever convicted of a criminal offense, what about drugs? Do you do drugs? So these type of questions, they want to know. And the best thing to do in this situation, when you're filling out this paperwork, you got to be open. You got to be truthful. You got to be transparent. Let them know. If multiple false claims are discovered, that can make you not qualified anymore. And it's as simple as that. The first 12 months, almost every federal employee is on probation. Takes about 4 to 6 months to finish a clearance. And if some of those areas are falsified and it's intentional, they can just pull your offer. You don't have a job anymore. Now, if it's an honest mistake, just come clean with it. As soon as they ask you it, just say, hey, it was my mistake. I didn't understand the question. But I tell you what, if you have 4, 5, 6 things that are false in there, that's not a mistake any longer. Another area that people are tempted to lie in is when it comes to their military discharge. You get a DD-214, member copy 4, and that's going to say the nature of your discharge. You don't have to make it up. It's either honorable, other than honorable, dishonorable, bad conduct, whatever it is, put down what it is. Now, where a lot of veterans get a little confused, get a little bit worried, maybe nervous, is when it comes to evaluations. No one's looking through your OERs or your NCOERs. No one's looking through those documents. Same thing with reenlistment codes. Those are not going to work against you, okay? All most federal agencies care about, for the most part, is the nature of your discharge. If you get to the point where you feel you're compelled to lie, where you can't get any job without being a liar, listen, when it comes to light, not only are they going to terminate you, but your reputation is going to take a hit. And I don't think you want that. There are other ways to get a better job. These ways include talking to somebody, working on your resume, applying multiple times a day. These things are better than creating a story. Maybe you need to go and get better skills. And remember that volume is going to beat luck. So if you look at everyone around you and everyone's getting jobs and you're like, oh, they're so lucky. Brad is so lucky. Mary is so lucky. Listen, if you don't have luck, what you have is volume, which means you're persistent, you're relentless, you're applying multiple times a day, and there's indicators letting you know that it's working. You're referred, you're getting interviewed. If not, you're showing that resume to someone, you're making the adjustments, and you're applying dozens. And if dozens doesn't get you in, if you're going for a competitive position, let's say you're trying to become a GS-15 in Chicago, and that could be kind of hard, trying to get a GS-15 position, and you're not getting through, keep applying. Maybe dozens will turn into 100 or over 100, but if you really want that GS-15 position in Chicago, you will put in 100 or more applications. So spend that creative energy actually becoming a better candidate, and you will end up seeing a lot more success when you're applying. Now, if you are considering getting a federal government job, maybe it's for the benefits, maybe it's because of the stability or the pension, then you might have some questions about the federal hiring process because it's confusing. It's confusing for everybody. I did a live stream recently where I answer over a dozen questions. Now, the whole thing is over an hour, but I have timestamps in there so you can go straight to the question that interests you. And if you want to see that, then I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.